Poker Dad going for the classic limp re-raise here with a couple of aces.
Snake in the grass.
Snake in the grass, indeed.
Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of the Texas trip. Today is the stream day, so we're going to be playing 5-10. I imagine the 25 straddle will probably be on. I feel okay, I feel alright. A little bit nervous, but you know, it's just poker, right? So I think once I'm there, once I'm at the table, I'll be absolutely fine. I'm not gonna lie, I'm experiencing all the emotions. I'm super excited, I'm nervous, I'm all the things. So hopefully we can just get involved, get in the mix, last the full stream. We've got 8K with us for it. So appreciate the support, guys. See you soon. Right guys, we've arrived at the club. We've got about an hour and a half to the actual stream goes live, so plenty of time, maybe an hour. So plenty of time, just going to get sorted out. I've not done it before, they've got to tell me some rules and stuff, so let's do that. As you might have noticed, Pete left earlier. I've lost my trusty sidekick today. He's off to San Antonio to play the meetup game with Doug and those guys. So I'm on my own today. Hopefully we'll be keeping an eye on how he's getting on as well. So yeah, let's get in there.
Meetup game has started without me. I should be there in just over an hour. The time is 1:15. We're about half hour out from the lodge, and this is what's currently occurring. Not ideal. Finally made it here. We're at the lodge San Antonio. Hopefully people are still here because I'm 2 hours late.
Thank you. Yes, sir. What are you filming? You got a vlog going?
Yeah, we messaged you last week. I'm Pete from the UK.
Oh, there you go. We got a lot of people who watch us in the UK.
Yeah. You told him to bring some fish and chips. We had a fish and chips t-shirt made.
Yes. Oh, no, but when did you come for the States? Just to play poker?
Just to meet you guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. Just
money comes and goes. You got the memories are what you remember, right?
That's it.
Poker Dad?
Poker Dad.
I'll have to check it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's the one.
That's it? All right, I'm going to subscribe.
I appreciate you, man.
You're now at 338 subscribers.
Getting there. We've been going.
Can I pull you aside and get a video of you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Take 2 seconds.
Right, Pete, let's see what you've got. So we're going to watch this footage live and sort of commentate along Pete's action. So we've got 10 jack off. So looks like we're in the big blind here. We've got 3 limpers, and we decide to just check. Not okay with that. We should be making that a 10 pre-flop. Try and get rid of a couple of these limpers. We are in Texas, so they probably all come along. Looks like it's a check call on the flop there with the 10. He bet a 10 and we called. I'm okay with that one. We then check the turn as well. Looks like we're heads up now, and he makes it 20. He decides on a call again. Yeah, I don't mind that here. That's okay so far. Not a great river card either. And we... Oh, we don't check. We just stick it in. What are we putting in here? 42 quid? It works! Pete, you're a genius. I don't know what this guy had. Maybe he had a weak king and Pete turned his 10 into a bluff. I mean, no idea. I love everything about it though. Love that from you. Producer P.
Pete from the UK who wins the meetup game. Has anybody come in further than the United Kingdom for the meetup game? South San Antonio does not count. Nobody? All right, Pete, you win.
Hey!
Thank y'all for coming.
For you, bud.
Thank you so much.
Anybody who flies from England gets a free hat.
That's great. I'll come back.
Welcome everybody to a very exciting edition of Lodge Card Club livestream. My name is Greg Potter. I am going to be your host today. Thank you all so much for joining me on this Thursday afternoon. Right here in Austin, Texas. We're playing a little 5-10-10 2K cap match, the stack. You know the drill. And we've got a pretty good cast today. A lot of new faces to the live stream. We're always very excited to see that.
Right, guys, here we go. First real hand for me of the night. So we're 6 hands in. Mully on my immediate right opens the action to $60. The 25 straddle's already on. We look down at ace queen off immediately next to him in the hijack. So we bump it up with a free bet to $160, hoping to get it to fold back round to Mully and hopefully just go heads up to a flop. However, Austin has other ideas and he raises again up to $600. It folds back round to me. That is more than a quarter of my stack, and we're 6 hands in, and I have 6k behind me in reserve. Not gonna lie, all of this comes into my mindset, and I just don't know what to do here. I'm thinking he must be pretty nutted here to be 4-betting me this early on after 2, early position raises from me and Mully. Obviously, we can see the cards here. That's not what he's doing, and he's just stamping his authority on the game. Looking back, and obviously after knowing, what the carnage that ensues the rest of this stream, I should just be snap jamming here. But I go for the passive route and do fold. Yeah, it is what it is. That we could have been gambling there. He would have probably called the jam, and would have been a 65% favourite. Who knows what would have come? But let's not dwell on it. Let's move on to the next hand. Right, folks, let's check and see how Pete is getting on at the meetup game. So what we got here? Oh, we're playing an Omaha double board bomb pot. I love this. Okay, cool. What we got? 3, 8, 5, 6. Couple of hearts. Okay, board 3, 4, 5. So we've flopped the nuts on the top board. We've checked the flop. I already hate it, Pete. Just slap pot in there straight away. 9 out of 10, absolute air on the bottom, which isn't great. So we're fighting for 1. This is why you have to put pressure on in bomb pots. We should have been betting the pot while we had the nuts. Queen of clubs is fine at the top. It does bring in the extra flush draw. 8 of diamonds on the river. It's clean as. So we are only... Well, we've got the nuts on the top board. Yeah, we should be just firing as big as we can. So we should have fired flop. We should have fired turn. And we should have fired river. I'm assuming we're going to win half of this. As yeah, we've got absolute air. We've got 8 high on the bottom board. But we're going to win half. It would have been a bigger half had we bet pot on flop, pot on turn, pot on river. Pete, when you've got the nuts in PLO, mate, especially when it's the double board, size up. Try and win that bottom board with nothing by getting the other players to fold. Nobody loves the chat pad.
The top board of a double board PLO bomb pot. And I got 1 bluff through where I bluffed, I shoved all in with a 7 high on an ace high board and got 2 folds. So the time is about 3 o'clock. Poker Dad has just started on the stream. So we're cooking. We got Slick Rick and Poker Dad.
Maybe 10 years. I've been here a while.
As you can see, I've still got my knit token. I look down at 10 jack of diamonds in the hijack, lovely hand. It's $50 to call here, so I make it $150. I instantly get called to my immediate left by the professor, and then Slicer also comes along for a call as well from the small blind. It then folds around to Rylan with Jack 9 on. He's the under the gun in the straddle of 50, and he ends up calling with Jack 9 off. We go to the flop then here, already $785 in the pot, and it comes down ace, queen, 3, 2 spades. Pretty poor board for my hand, if I'm being completely honest, especially with multiple players calling. I should actually probably check here, if I'm being completely honest, but I do think I've got a little bit of range advantage, so I think I can fire here and at least thin the herd. It does happen exactly as that. We only get 1 call, which is Slicer, who comes along for the 225. Of course, like I say, the flop's not ideal, and the queen on the turn is also just a really terrible card. Slicer checks to me again, I check back, putting him on the exact sort of hand he has, to be honest, for suited ace, that kind of thing. The river card comes down the jack of spades, again, not really any good for myself. Slicer can't help but bet here and get a little bit of value from his ace. I do think about it just for a minute or two, just to see if I am being any hands at all. I mean, even the spade draw came in. It's just such a small bet. I only need to be right sort of 1 in every 5 times to make this call profitable. But what am I actually beating here that takes this line? I mean, he calls the flop bet, which is either spades or a pair. I doubt he's turning his free into some sort of weird bluff here. It's just frustrating, especially because I've still got my nip button as well. I just don't want to get bluffed. But yeah, eventually I do decide that it's just the worst hand really to be calling with here. I'd rather probably call with like pocket sevens or something like that. I know that sounds strange, but it's just not a good hand to be calling with. So I end up letting it go. And luckily, I do see the good news that it's a good fold and that Slice had the ace-4 or a diamond. So just hitting his ace on the flop, realising where he was, and then he takes down a $1,500 pot. We don't have to wait long before getting back into the action here. So we're under the gun. Mully's put on the $20 straddle, I believe, rather than 25. We might have done this all night. Hey ho, the straddle's on. And we look down under the gun +1, and we have pocket nines. We've still got our nip button, as you can see. So we make it 75. Pretty standard raise, obviously, with the blinds being the way they are. We get around to Slice it in the cutoff, who flats with pocket threes. High also comes along with Jack 7. And Rylan also just puts in a call rather than a free bet with ace Jack off. Mully getting 1,000,000 to 1. Can't help but put his in as well with the 8-6 off. We go to a flop then 6 ways, in fact. There's $460 in the middle, and it comes down king, king, 7. Really, really good flop for my hand. Obviously, there's not going to be many kings out there. You'd expect people with strong kings to have been free bet and pre-flop. So I think it's quite easy for me to just stick out a nice continuation bet here when it checks around to myself. So we bet $150, so about third pot. And actually folds all the way around here, which means I can pick up the nice little pot. The first pot for me of the session, which is always a nice feeling, and I get rid of my nip button. A little bit surprised 7 there didn't call. And it's a pretty good flop for Jack 7 off if you're going to call pre. We take it down, and we hit a little bit of a rush here as we are about to play another hand. I just joked about Mully putting in the $20 straddle rather than 25. Can't really talk because I actually completely forgot to put the straddle in at all here. I'd already looked at one of my cards, so I'd said that basically I didn't want to, I looked down at an ace and I didn't want to pretend I hadn't seen it and then put the straddle in. That's not how I roll. So I looked down, and then the worst time ever to pick up pocket ace when you forget to put the straddle in. But hey ho, it's never too bad to look at pocket aces. Hey, so yeah, aces. I'd actually just limp under the gun here. I don't mind mixing this up every now and again, especially on an aggressive table. So we limped. High makes it 100. Rylan calls with the ace-5 of diamonds 100, and Mully also calls for 100. So there's already $340 in there, which I actually think allows me to size up a little bit here. I think the commentator didn't like my sizing here, but personally, I think this is the right size. We don't want to be going 4 or 5 ways to a flop here with aces, as all of a sudden they can become quite fragile. We really want to be going heads up, and that's the goal of this bet. So we bump it up here from the original raise of 100. We put it up to $700. So in essence, a raise of 600. It means there's $1,000 in the pot. The professor thinks about it for just a moment with King Jack off. Rightfully so, makes the fold. I'm surprised it took him as long as it did, to be honest. It folds around to High, who also has King Jack off, and he decides, yeah, okay, that's good enough to call a limp re-raise with. I suppose he has got the button, so he's got position on me. So maybe he's thinking that a little bit as well. Rylan also now gets priced in with the ace-5 of diamonds. Again, out of position, but I'm actually fine with his call. I think that's a nice hand. Flops well. Gives you some options, how we say. It's certainly a better option than King Jack off. And of course, Mully looking down at the King Queen, also now getting priced in. Can't say no either. In fact, he does actually fold, which surprises me. Anyway, flop comes down Queen 10-8. As you can see, I've only got $950 left in my stack, which is less than the pot size bet. So I don't think I have to do anything too heroic here. I just jam it straight away. Obviously hoping to get called by Jack Queen, King Queen, those sorts of hands here. High actually has the open-ended straight draw, so he asks for a count, which like I said, I didn't see much of that out there. I suppose there shouldn't really be any 2-pair combos either based on the sizing. That's another reason why I size up the way I do, because it should cap their hand ranges somewhat. However, in this situation, it's not quite gone that way. High sticks in the call, and we have a little chat about running it once or twice. I basically tell him it's up to him. I'm happy to do it, whatever he wants. He decides 2, so there's $4,000 in the pot, and we're a 73% favourite here. We go to the first run out. Like I say, really good position. He's just got the open-end straight draw, and of course we block it with the aces as well. He's got 4 nines and 1 ace or whatever it is. But he ends up backdooring the flush on the first run out, which is just absolutely horrific. Luckily we have a second board to help us out, but no, there's the ace, the case ace. Smashes the river again, which means he somehow takes down both boards and the $4,000 that are in the pot, which means I lose my first buy-in. Obviously, this hurt a lot. I think I dealt with it quite well, considering it's the biggest pot I've ever played, biggest pot I've ever lost. Weirdly, I was a little bit nervous before this hand, and this actually somewhat calmed me down. I basically thought it can't get any worse than this. So, let's see if it can as we move on to the next hand.
Good content, right? Yeah.
Great content.
Nice little scoop
All for the content.
there for high. Look at all those chips he's racking up with the new car protector.
No kidding, that hurt. Let's get back over to Pete, shall we, and see if he's having any more luck than I am. What are we looking at here? So, picked up queens. Lovely old job. Couple of ladies. We make it $15. Well, look, this is what we got. One. Okay, so it looks like we're under the gun. We've made it 15. We get at least 3 callers. Hard to tell. Not the best board for our hand. There is a couple of diamonds out, so we've got the emergency backdoor flush draw. Again, we've checked, which I'm not a massive fan of. We've got range advantage from, leading pre-flop, so I actually prefer a bet here. However, we've had a bet call and we've come along as well. 8 of hearts doesn't really change anything. I think now that we've checked the flop, we have to check the turn and play in rhythm. And the guy to our immediate left makes it 25. Again, the guy to our right calls, and we also come along for a call. Again, I'm okay with all of this so far. I'm not loving it. Someone may well have like a weak ace here. It goes check again, and the guy bangs in. Looks like 115, and he calls as well. I think now, unfortunately, we just have to fold, right? What are we beating? Someone's put 115 in and got a call. It's a horrible spot. No one likes folding queens with 1 over, but we have to lay it down. What we got? A raggy ace, 10 jack, and ace 3. Yeah, I think if we could have stuck a bet in on the flop and then perhaps a big bet on the turn, we can get the weak ace to fold there. But again, who knows? We are in Texas after all. They don't like folding hands. We're on the button here. Nick game's on again. There's been a couple of limps, and I look down at King 6 of diamonds, so I call the $100 from Ryland's raise in the hijack with the ace 5 off. I really like playing these sort of king middle sort of hands. It's a bit of a weird one for me. They're nice hands. If generally speaking, you're either in good shape if you hit top pair or sometimes a long way behind, but you can get some disguised 2 pairs. Obviously, you can hit your flushes as well, so there's quite a few options here. Luckily, we get into quite a cheap flop, so we're here 4 ways, $100 a piece. Ryland leads the flop here for $200, and I decide on just flat calling. Basically, I'm not sure where I am yet, so I don't want to go silly buggers and start raising it. Austin also comes along with the ace 5. Obviously, they've both got the exact same hand here, so we're in nice shape. The turn is the absolute dream because it brings in the 6, which gives me 2 pairs. There's $1,000 in the pot now. It checks round to me, and sometimes in poker, you've just got to bet your hand. So I count out a raise, or a bet, should I say. It looks like it could just be a steal attempt, as they're both checked after betting and calling on the flop. So I size up a little bit here, and I bet $700. Austin decides to fold out of position, so I don't really blame him. Ryland, however, is a little bit suspicious. So he takes his time. I'm not exactly sure what he's putting me on. I suppose he could put me on a couple of spades. That's about it, really, because pretty much every other hand is beating him. I mean, if I had some sort of straight draw on the flop, maybe 4-6, I've hit a pair that's bigger than his. If I've got 2-4, then I've obviously hit the straight. And of course, what sort of hands am I actually going to be, calling with from the button pre-flop when it's the $100 raise? So I'm not entirely sure what hand he can be putting me on here. And I immediately think that he must have a king. Maybe king, queen, king, jack, something along those lines when he raised pre-flop as well. So he does eventually decide to call, which is, of course, music to my ears. The turn does bring down a spade, the 9 of spades, which does worry me a little bit because I'm trying to piece together what he could have here after raising pre, betting flop, and then calling the turn. So I actually end up checking back the river there just in case he did have the flush draw on the flop. I don't think I'm getting much value out of any hands here anyway, especially his specific hand. If I bet the river, nothing's calling me that I beat. So I let to check behind, and we take down the biggest pot that we've ever taken down so far.
Massive bet here from Poker Dad. I don't think High is going to pay this off. It is 2 pair, but lots of straights out there, and Poker Dad has now made it huge.
The commentator thinks I've made this huge. Now I think I've sized this absolutely perfectly. Can we get max value? Find out in the next vlog.